Good morning, everybody. Welcome to UT Dallas Intercultural Programs. My name is Rodolfo Hernandez Guerrero, Assistant Director of Intercultural Programs, and it's my pleasure, my honor to welcome you, all of you, to attend this information session for new international students coming in the fall 2022. This has been an amazing journey for all of us to put in place all the details behind the scenes to ensure that we can deliver effective, efficient information for you, helpful information, and for you to be ready in preparation for your arrival to UT Dallas. So feel free to write down your questions through all the presentation, and at the end we have a Q&A session, and for us to be comprehensive to be able to answer all your questions, concerns, or doubts. Um, I would like to mention that we have an amazing team colleague right here. It's Flower Mwangi, who is behind the scenes facilitating the segments of these slides, presentations, illustrations to enhance the communication and delivering the appropriate message, effective message for all of you, guidance for all of you. Next slide, Flower, please. So the logistics of this event, you can see us, you can hear us, but you cannot see we cannot see you or hear you. So we have been muted the fact that you can send us message at this moment, because we'll be focusing on delivering the information, all this guidance that we have prepared for this specific session. And then at the end, we'll be activating the Q&A command for you to be able to present your questions and for us to be able to respond and provide you guidance. As I mentioned, that will be the Q&A session. It will be reflected a column on the right of your screen, and you will be able to type all your questions and concerns right there. And the event is being recorded and will be posted within 48 business hours in the Intercultural Programs YouTube channel. Thank you. Next slide, Flower. And now I would like to introduce the Director of Intercultural Programs, the Director of Global Engagement of the University of Texas at Dallas, Ms. Leticia Samarripa, who provides us the official welcome remarks for all of you. Thank you. Leticia.
Thank you, Rodolfo. I appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the session Preparing for Life in Dallas. We will review some important resources about finding a place to live, transportation, banks, cell phones, and other things that you need to know to feel at home at UT Dallas. Again, my name is Leticia Samarripa, as Rodolfo mentioned, and I am in charge of the Intercultural Programs Office. For those of you that did not have a chance to join us during the last meeting, I would like to just mention very briefly what our mission is. Intercultural Programs has the mission of promoting global engagement among the UT Dallas community. And also very important, because this has to be with you, is assisting international students to successfully integrate into campus life. And for that purpose, we are in charge of orientation. We are in charge of other programs during the academic year that will help you make that transition successfully. So I'm going to be starting talking a little bit about housing. I know it's a big thing for all of you to decide where to live while in Dallas. Next slide, please. Okay, on-campus housing. On-campus housing, I'm sorry to start with not very good news, but it's at capacity right now. Maybe some of you were able to make a contract with the Office of Housing. Usually fills up very quickly early in the semester. For those of you that did not have a chance to apply on time for on-campus housing and would like to evaluate the possibility of moving later on campus, please make sure to be in contact with the housing office and to consider the deadlines that they have. Please, next slide. On-campus housing, of course, is close to campus. I'm not going to elaborate much on this just because, as I told you right now, is field, but it requires students to apply with a lot of time in advance, and they offer different type of accommodations. They have the traditional dorm type, which is university commons, and also some type of suite apartments that they offer as well as an option. Next slide, please. So we're going to be concentrating in talking about off-campus housing. UT Dallas, fortunately, is surrounded by a lot of departments, accommodations that will be very useful for you to look at. But what do you need to consider when you are thinking about living off campus? First, of course, proximity to campus. Each one of the departments may offer different amenities, and I will speak about that in a minute. Excuse me. So you have to really consider when you are looking and evaluating, comparing what type of amenities each department offers. The size, you always have to ask how many people can be in one department, because they have policies. Some apartments limit the capacity, the number of people that can be sharing an apartment. So please be mindful of that. Of course, you have to consider access to stores, restaurant, public transportation. I'll talk about public transportation in a minute. And safety, which is very, very important. Our campus is very safe. We have a lot of very good resources from our own police department. You will learn more during orientation about this wonderful service that we get. But surrounding the university, just make sure that you read some reports concerning the department, just to make sure you are located in a very safe area. I would like to recommend to you to please access one specific web page that is listed in the last bullet, and we will be providing you, when we open the chat, the specific links, because there the university has made a big effort to provide a reference of apartments around UT Dallas within the 3-mile radius. That is from close proximity. So if you access that webpage, you will find a list of possibilities for off-campus housing that I would really, really recommend for you to look at. Within the same website, you will find also a reference of our local transportation, which is, of course, a very important aspect to make sure that wherever you decide to live is connected to the university. We have 2 types of transportation. We'll discuss it a little bit more later on in the presentation, but one is handled by UT Dallas, and we call it Comet Cruisers, who are that are buses that go around the vicinity of UT Dallas to assist our students to transport to campus. And the other one is just the public system that is called DART. You can find that information in that same link, but don't worry to write it down. We will be providing you all the links that we will be mentioning that are shown in the presentation. We will put them on the chat, so you will have direct access, and they are organized by topics, so don't worry about that. Next slide, please. One thing that might be different from your own country, it is sometimes different in every country how accommodations are set up and what do they include. I'm giving you some reference about the things that you should be looking at. The first one is, what does it include? Most of the apartments include basic things such as refrigerator, oven, and a stove. Some others, excuse me, some others include as well other amenities. such as dishwasher or washing machine for clothes. So please make sure that you take a look at what the department includes. I think, and I'm sure you would agree with me, finding a place to live and deciding what is important for you is very personal. Some people don't mind commuting as long as they are located in the area that they would like to live. Some other people don't like very much the looks of the apartment as long as it is near to campus. So just think about that. It is very, very personal, your decision about what is your priority. Is it vicinity to campus? Is it a safe environment? Is it a very nice place near downtown Dallas? It is completely up to you. There are many amenities that the departments may have. Some of them, for example, have a swimming pool. Dallas is a very, very hot or warm. It can be very, very warm during the summer, which includes all the way till August. So please be mindful of that. If you are a sensitive person concerning the heat that could be, please consider an apartment that it could includes a swimming pool. Utilities, this is very important. When you ask for a price for the cost of an apartment, be mindful that the apartment won't be covering most of the utilities. Which are these utilities? For example, internet, electricity, water. Usually that is paid by their own, by each person that rent the apartment. And it will be based, of course, in terms of the consumption. When you are thinking about moving into another country, I would invite you to consider time to settle down. I know some of you are constrained due to the visa appointment and the timing that you will be ready to travel. But if you can, please come at least 2 weeks in advance. Moving into a new department, maybe finding the right department is rather easy. Deciding where to live is rather easy. But one thing is to contract with the department. Another thing is to be ready to move into that department, because you have to consider that most departments are not furnished. You have to either rent or buy some basic furniture. You have to decide which type of electricity company you would like to contract with, which internet, if you want cable or don't want cable. So please take your time. That is the best advice I would like to give you. And for that purpose, in the same webpage that we show you in the last slide, you will find some recommendations about temporary housing, meaning hotels, motels that are in the vicinity of UT Dallas, for you to consider that you would have to stay maybe for a few days until you get everything sorted out concerning the department that you will be living in. Next slide, please. So how do you select the apartment? Some criteria is, please research the area. Try to find out what the area looks like. If you want to get, usually the departments show pictures, but usually also they show the best pictures. Make sure to do your own research. Look also for crime statistics that is public, and we are offering you some references on the slide. Just do your homework. Don't contract with the first apartment available surrounding UT Dallas. Another thing is, of course, please check your pictures online. And one thing that I already mentioned, look for the facility of having the 883 Comet Cruiser. That is the one bus, type of bus that is handled by UT Dallas, that goes through different parts of the vicinity of UT Dallas. That will be so convenient for you, so you don't have to, to worry about that part. You can find information about the routes and where do they stop on our webpage concerning housing. We also include in that webpage an outside website that is not handled by UT Dallas, but it's a good resource for off-campus housing. Now, I know you have not been here, some of you have not been here ever into the US, and it's a different system of hiring things, of making contracts with. My recommendation, another additional recommendation, is talk to students that have been or are students here at UT Dallas. Those will be the best recommendations you will get. Later on in early July, we are inviting the Indian Student Organization to make a presentation of all practical aspects of students for you to consider. We are asking them to give you references about which departments they have lived that consider a good location, a good tenant. So please do not miss that. You don't have to be from India to attend this session. And that is one of the most practical sessions that we will be offering during the summer. That one is in early July on a Tuesday, the first week of, I think is July 5th, but you can look it up on our website to find the exact time and date, but do not miss that one. It will be so useful. Right now, we are giving you an overview of things that you have to look for when you are moving into a new country, but their recommendation will be key for you to have an idea of what a student recommends, which is the most important aspect. Next slide, please. Okay, now you found an apartment, now what? Usually you will be asked to sign a contract, and one thing that you should consider is that usually applications have a cost, but also most of you won't have a social security yet. Those of you that get a job on campus will be getting a social security. International students can work on campus up to 20 hours per week, but you will need a social security. And social security in this country, maybe in other countries as well, is like the main form of identity. However, you don't need it per se. It is recommended if you have it, of course, that will be easier. But if you are hiring a department and you don't have a social security, most of the time, the way they do it is you show your passport, your visa, but also they will ask you for a deposit. I don't want you to be surprised because some apartments ask for a deposit when you don't have a social security. Usually is refundable, but every department, please ask those type of questions before signing anything. Read and sign your lease. Please, they usually are long leases. There's a lot of information. Please do not miss to read what are the policies. If you hire a department and you contract with them, sometimes there is a policy that you cannot leave the department without a penalty if you leave before certain amount of time. So make sure to read everything to do a wise decision. I know there is a lot of information. We're trying to make it easier for you looking at those references, looking at those criteria look at our webpage, and I'm sure you will find very useful information for you to make your decision. Next slide, please. Utilities, I already mentioned it. For example, electricity, we will be providing you that link that is shown on the screen. You can choose which electricity company you will be hiring, as well as internet. Usually when you are contracting, for example, cable or an internet, most people do not have a wire phone anymore. They use their cell phones. But usually having like a package is more economical than hiring, for example, internet with one company and cable with the other. So please also be mindful that there is a lot of competition. There are a lot of companies that you could evaluate. Again, when we have the Indian Student Association presentation, those type of things are the ones that we are asking them to present to you. Recommendations, just because they are students and they have found maybe the most efficient and yet affordable ways to live in Dallas. And so I really want you to look forward to that presentation. Again, you don't have to be from India. They will advise all international students. They are very experienced in advising new international students. So we look forward to seeing you there. Now I'm going to invite Rodolfo Hernandez, our Assistant Director, to continue with other topics concerning this presentation. Thank you very much. We'll see you at the end for questions.
Thank you, Leticia. This has been very helpful information, helpful guidance, and I'm very excited for all of you. Myself, I was like you about 25 years ago as a new international student, and I really appreciate that we are providing all this comprehensive information for you to enhance your success and a smooth transition from your home communities to the UT Dallas community. I wish in my years, 25 years ago, we have this kind of resources, this kind of live presentations, virtual presentation to be able to obtain all this guidance. So in advance, appreciating the leadership of Leticia and the team of Intercultural Programs. And my topic that I would like to share with you right now will be about banking. And yes, money matters in the United States, and it's really important that you have the resources and the understanding to manage your own financial matters. Banks typically have a variety of savings or checking accounts. Each one has different requirements and benefits. So that's why it's important that you research the accounts on their web page in each one of these banks' web page to understand which may be the best for you. Our recommendation, Intercultural Programs recommends you call, visit, or email the bank to get further clarification. And most banks have staff available to discuss your options and help you to set up an account. You should be able to find out what you need to bring you to open a new account. Typically, you will need an ID card like your passport, for instance, but but again, as Leticia mentioned, if you have your social security number, bring that information with your social security card if you have one. But if no, many banks want to see another form of identification, such as your I-20 form or other immigration documents like the DS 2019 for J1 students. You can always call the bank to check which documents you may need. Some popular banks around here, UT Dallas, are Wells Fargo, which, by the way, this bank, Wells Fargo, has an ATM machine on the UT Dallas campus, and other banks are Chase and Bank of America. Next slide, Flower, please. Cell phones. Of course, it's really important that you have a device that you will be able to use communicate from the very beginning of your transition to US to the UT Dallas community. You need a cell phone to stay connected. When purchasing a cell phone plan, make sure you look into the various plans and contracts available. Take a look at the amount of minutes available and what are the charges and limits for data usage and messaging. If you need international calling, that will be something that you will need to consider as well to be discussed with a cell phone provider. Other items to consider are the service or coverage you will get, how much mobile hotspot data you will have, what types of devices the plan offers, and the contract length. What is the time, the frame of time that you can contract with a cell phone provider, and any restrictions. It is really important. Current students will have some great advice and recommendation. So contact your cultural student organization. If you are from India, for instance, as mentioned, Leticia, you may contact the Association of Indian Students here on campus. As well, we have the Association of Chinese Students, a association for from Latin students, Hispanic students, etc. So contact current UT Dallas students or cultural organizations here on campus and other friends for suggestions regarding cell phones. They will be the ones to give you the best tips, the best recommendations to really have a good balance in terms of cost benefit for the optimal service that you require for your cell phone. Popular cell phones providers in the US are Verizon, AT&T, and Sprint, but there are more, much more. You can typically find a retail location for your chosen provider, or you may be able to set up online and virtually as well. Next slide, Flower, please. A students organization had mentioned that they have used Lyca Mobile, L-Y-C-A, Lyca Mobile, seen from Amazon. But this doesn't work until you land in the United States. This is in case you want to have communication upon arrival right away, access to connectivity upon arrival right away. So please take in consideration that this is just a reference, and we encourage you to look for options based on your individual circumstances. And in some instances, you may find some options from your home countries to be able to have a temporary connectivity upon arrival while you're setting up and finding the best cell phone service here in the United States. Again, the recommendation for the student organization so far has been Lyca Mobile SIM SIM from Amazon. Okay, next slide. Getting around. Well, once you get to Dallas, you want to get around, of course, and UT Dallas and Dallas have a great public transportation options. Let me tell you, Leticia has mentioned the Comet Cruiser. Yes, the Comet Cruiser is the Route 883, which is the UTD bus system that goes to and from campus on several different routes. There are many shops, restaurants, and other places that are on the Comet Cruiser route. The best part is free. That's the best part of this service. That's a community engagement partnership that we have with this public service and UT Dallas for all of you, for UT Dallas students to have a basic public transportation free. No ID or payment is required to ride this Comet Cruiser, the Route 883. So you can view the schedule and map online. If you're looking to travel outside of the UT Dallas area, you can use the DART system. The DART includes train and bus systems in Dallas. And as a UTD student, you can get a free pass once you register for classes. So it's one of the benefits becoming a UT Dallas student and current student with current courses, pursuing courses at UT Dallas, you will have free access to free public transportation. You can view the schedule and routes on their webpage, certainly, and to apply for a free pass, visit to apply for a free pass to access the public transportation, visit the UT Dallas Transportation Service page, webpage. If you plan to drive around while you're here, you will need to apply for your driver's license. Very important. You can visit the Texas Department of Public Safety's webpage to apply. You will need to take a written test and a driving test. And the material to be training for the driving test and for the reading test will be accessible through the web page. You also need to purchase a parking pass if you plan to park on campus. Parking passes can be purchased online, and for that, visit the web page list for more information. And certainly, we'll be providing this link, this web page at the end in the Q&A session. Next slide. Food. Of course, all of us, we love good food. Now that you know how to get around, let's talk about shopping. Um, Purchasing groceries in the US may be different than your home country. As mentioned, there are a lot of popular stores along the Comet Cruiser route, which makes it very easy. Tom Tom is nice and has groceries, a bakery, a pharmacy, and some other basic items you may need. Walmart and Target are popular as they have groceries, clothes, pharmacies, furniture, and other household items. Their prices are typically very low as well. Sprouts is another store that offers organic or natural foods, but the prices may be a little bit higher. A few shopping tips. Let me provide 5 of them. 1, get a grocery store application if there is one. This allows you to create an account, get coupons, and other good discounts. Talk to your roommates about splitting up shopping costs and duties. It is helpful to talk this over ahead of time to save time and especially money. Number 3, consider shopping in bulk if you can. Often, larger items cost less in the long run, so if you have space and you're on a budget, this may help you. Number 4, most stores require you to wear a mask right now. Even it's optional, we highly encourage you to protect yourself wearing masks. And recommendation number 5, last but not least, don't forget to take into consideration your mode of transportation while shopping. For example, don't buy more than you can carry if you are taking the bus, as this will be an inconvenient. Next slide. Home country food. Of course, all of us would like to taste once in a while our home country food. We have a lot of international grocery stores in the area. A few popular ones are Payroll Brothers and India Bazaar for Indian food. H Mart has a variety of food from Asia, such as Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and Vietnamese. Fiesta is a large grocery chain that offers Mexican food. Central Market is an organic grocery store and offers foods from around the world. However, the prices are higher than most grocery stores in this place, Central Market. Next one, please. Certainly, once in a while, we want to explore ourselves and we love to go to restaurants. Of course, you don't want to cook every night. There are so many delicious restaurants in our area to try. Remember, it is customary to leave a tip for your server. Between 15 and 20% of your bill will be sufficient. And you can vary it depending on the service you receive. Excuse me, some restaurants are providing curbside pickup due to COVID-19. And a tip is always nice in this situation, but not usually required. Additionally, due to COVID-19, not all restaurants are allowing dine-in service. So it is helpful to call before going to a restaurant to check if they are providing in-service. You will typically need to wear a mask in the restaurant while you're waiting for your table, speaking with the hostess or server, ordering, etc. You can remove your mask once you're ready to eat. It is always helpful to check the restaurant's policies first. You may want food delivered to your home as well. Some restaurants deliver, and you can check this on their webpage. But many restaurants use a food delivery application. The popular applications are DoorDash, GrabHub, Uber Eats, and Favor. You will typically be charged a delivery fee, and you should tip the person who is delivering the food. 10% is usually fine, but you can give more or less depending on your service. Next slide. Restaurants along Comet Cruiser route. There are so many restaurants along the Comet Cruiser route, and they are all delicious. Food in the US is very diverse, and in larger cities like Dallas, we have even more options. This is a list of some of the most popular places around UT Dallas and what type of food they serve. Google Maps is a great resource to find a restaurant you want to try. For example, Sonny Bryant's, Palio's Pizza Cafe, Mi Cocina, Rodeo Goat, Olive Garden, Van Walk, and check certainly Google your maps. So with this, we finished this information session and we'll be ready for the questions and answer moment. And so we'll be opening the Q&A column, so you will be able to see it on the right. And right now, so we can start receiving your question, and we have about 20 minutes or so, and we want to be as comprehensive as possible to answer all your questions. And in collaboration with my colleague Leticia, myself, will be able to provide you guidance. In the meantime, yeah, it's open now.
If I may, while we receive questions, just to wrap up, we have just submitted in the Q&A chat all the links that we discussed during the presentation. This is just for you to have them at hand as you will start your research. And just to wrap up the session, as we mentioned, looking for housing is something very, very personal. Do take the time to research where you would like to live, contact the cultural organizations, attend future sessions just to receive more direct feedback from students. And I would like to emphasize something else concerning banking. I would recommend very much that you check your own bank to see which banks in Dallas or in the US are in network with your own bank. Having or choosing a bank in the United States that is already in network with your own bank will facilitate transfer of money and some other services that banks offer. We have learned that students that do that have a more easy transition concerning banking in the United States. Review some other information sessions that we will be offering. One of them, talking about banking, will be with the Bursar office. The Bursar office is in charge of everything that has to do your financial life in UT Dallas. So they will be talking how to pay your tuition and anything that has to do with your finances. Okay, well, we're open to questions. Rodolfo?
Let me provide some support right here. Well, one of the questions is that the lease for the apartment begins on the 19th of August, I believe, but so they're asking it for temporary housing. Leticia mentioned about some temporary housing, and in the section of housing of the Intercultural Programs webpage, you will find a specific information and options like hotels, motels, or temporary apartments leases that they can be leased per day, and you will find a specific information right there. In addition, certainly student organizations, not all of them, but on very specific cases, they may provide that support. We don't really want to create a general expectation in that respect, but certainly you're welcome to contact a student organization as well in case they can provide, and you have a very strong case for asking, for requesting the support for temporary housing. Now, somebody else is asking about how to register classes and how to select those classes. Well, for new international students coming to UT Dallas for the first time, for you to be able to register classes, you will be able to do it only with the support and guidance of your academic advisor. So, in other words, you won't be able to register classes until you receive the guidance and the approval from the academic advisor. So, please contact directly your academic advisor to ensure that you obtain the guidance and you are able to register the classes for fall 2022. Where can I find a map of the DART service bus route? Leticia just published the links appropriate for this presentation, for this information session, where you will find the link for the DART service around UT Dallas, around Dallas. For what it says here, what is the scope of service for DART, for public transportation here in Dallas? Certainly, you can go everywhere here in the metropolitan area as long as you're using public transportation, and it's going to be free for you. And basically, that will include the city of Richardson and the city of Dallas, which together they create a very comprehensive metropolitan area. Okay. And another question is about, tell us the ways to apply for an on-campus job and on-campus housing. Well, you want to find a job in the UT Dallas campus, the very first thing that you have to do is to visit the webpage of the Career Center, the UT Dallas Career Center. This is a specific office under the umbrella of Student Affairs that they will have the protocol for you to see the different options, the different jobs available for international students. And so you will be able to apply to some of them. Certainly, like any other job, you need to apply and you need to be competitive for that specific position. There is a specific software platform that is called Handshake, and that's provided by the Career Center. And that will be the platform through which international students will be able to create an account and present your profile in that platform for anybody on campus to be able to see your profile. And if there is a specific position, the student individually has to apply for that position and to be competitive in the selection process to be selected. And if you're selected for a job position here on campus, the institution provides the guidance and support to obtain your social security as well, and to be able to be in compliance with federal, state, and local government. Can I open an account in Santander Bank in Dallas? The answer is, in principle, is yes, as long as you meet the criteria of the specific Santander Bank here in Dallas. Somebody's asking about information about checking and savings an account. This info session will be published in the YouTube channel of Intercultural Programs after we finishing this session. So that will be available sometime this afternoon or tomorrow, and you will be able to see all the slides of this information session where you can find specific information about checking and saving accounts. Nevertheless, we invite you to contact directly the banks around the UT Dallas campus for you to start the conversation and to really ensure that you're ready to open an account upon arrival to the United States. Regarding tips for delivery for cab drivers, etc. So I just explained in one of the last slides about the importance of tips. That's part of the culture right here. Tip in the United States is a way to present a gratitude for the support or service of somebody. So you go to restaurants, as mentioned, usually the tip will be between 15%, 20%, depending what is the quality of the service. But if somebody is delivering food to your apartment, 10% will be sufficient. It could be even less. Regarding the meal plan at UTD and dining aspects, the best way to obtain this information is through the webpage of UT Dallas Dining Services, where you will find the many options regarding meal plans, and some of them are included even the 3 meals per day. Leticia has provided a specific link. Thank you, Leticia, and where they find more details about meal plans on campus. Yeah, we have somebody from Argentina. Must be Felipe Rodolfo. We have been in contact with Felipe Rodolfo for in many emails, and this message from Argentina is asking us. basically I don't have a credit in the United States because I can never live in the United States. And so how can I obtain a guarantor? Um, And I'm saying as well that many places and business places here in the United States did not answer personal emails and may have some limitations for phone calls from Argentina, from far away. So for Felipe, you are concerned about your credit profile, like any other new international student. The credit profile is a whole process, and as long as you meet the criteria of these businesses here in the United States, for instance, the apartment complex, the bank, some grocery store that may provide some temporary credit for you as a new international student, you need to meet the criteria, and gradually you will be able to build your credit history in the United States, and you will be obtaining more and more credit or more benefits for obtaining additional credit in your journey here in the United States. It's a very complex topic issue, of course, because it's very different for each one of us, but certainly the community around UT Dallas and specifically here on campus, we are very respectful and we understand those limitations. So with the support of community vendors and businesses, they provide the support for you to obtain the services that you require to have a successful and enjoyable academic and cultural experience at UT Dallas. Somebody's asking for free pickups from the airport. Well, Leticia has responded, and there is a campus partner. It's called Big Howdy, and they will be providing free pickups from the airport. And you will have to consult directly the webpage of Big Howdy, and we'll be able to provide the specific link. I believe may be included in the list of web pages that Leticia published at the beginning of this Q&A. But yes, through the support of community partners, including the student organization, there will be free pickups from the airport to the UT Dallas campus, but you need to request and reserve your pickup in advance. Now, somebody's asking about which mobile handset should one buy in Dallas. Well, that's a very individual question that depends on your circumstances and your preferences. What I can tell you is that you will find many choices, and you need to compare those plans, those different options, and for you to be able to have the best choice selection decision for purchasing something like that. What is the average cost of utilities for a person? That's I would say it's not really a difficult question, but that would depend what are the habits of each individual. If you, for instance, let me give an example. Right now in Dallas must be around 38, 39, almost 40 degrees Celsius. So it may be really hot for many, so they will be using the air conditioning more. And that may increase the cost of electricity, certainly. But maybe others that could be tolerant with higher temperatures, and they may request less AC, air conditioning service, and so the electricity bill will be much less than otherwise. Should we open a bank account after reaching there at UT Dallas, or do we need to start the process from our home country? Well, ultimately, the actual opening an account happens once you're right here in the United States. Some banks may even require a specific signatures, but nevertheless, we highly recommend you to contact the banks in advance so you know what requirements, what documents you will need, and for them to be able to verify that documentation to be able to open, for you to be able to open an account. How can I have waive the student health insurance? That's a very good question. That's a question related to the previous information session last week, but Leticia has been very kind to provide the link to the student. But basically, you need to contact the Student Health Center. That is the only office on campus with the authority to waive the requirement of the international student health insurance. And why? Because if you are going to be requesting a waiver for the health insurance, you need to provide evidence that you have equivalent health insurance, same or above the requirements that we establish at UT Dallas. And there is no way that you can go without insurance, health insurance. This is really important. It's for the best of your best interest and certainly for the best interest of the public health here on campus. Will I need a UTD parking pass for parking a bike on campus? In principle, no. Biking around, we're welcome to be sustainable, to be a respectful environment, and there are many parking places for bikes around the campus. We encourage you to use it. Where can I get the recording for this session? I joined late. It will be published again in the Intercultural Programs YouTube channel, and it's going to be very easy to access because you can go to the webpage of Intercultural Programs International Student Orientation, and at the bottom of that webpage, you will see the information sessions for fall 2022. You will be able to click in each one of these sessions, and if they are available in YouTube, the link, the hyperlink will take you directly to the YouTube channel. The first session has been already published in the YouTube channel, Intercultural Programs. I wanted to know, apart from bacterial meningitis, what all vaccines are required that we should take before entering the United States? Well, in principle, that will be the key one for all new international students, but certainly there is specific guidance requirements depending where you're coming from. So I will suggest that you contact the Student Health Center directly. They will provide comprehensive information regarding vaccination, and certainly you will obtain that guidance to ensure that you bring it. You're meeting all the requirements, health requirements established by the Student Health Center. Can we check in hand check right away? Well, no, actually you need to be current student. At this point, you are new international student in process to become a current student. So you need to be actual student taking classes. And once you are in that situation with that status, you will welcome to follow up the guidance of the Career Center and to create an account in Handshake. Excuse me. Can I apply for a campus job if I live outside the campus? Certainly. As long as you're a current student, you are welcome to apply for a campus job, even if you are living outside of campus. The link for the jobs on campus again is the webpage of the Career Center with the platform Handshake. Somebody's asking how much money I had to bring in US dollars cash from my country to the United States. That's a very relative question because that will depend on your circumstances. There is a section in the registrar's office where you will find a calculator based on your circumstances, including tuition and housing, you will be able to calculate how much money you will need for your staying here at UT Dallas. But in advance from, for what could imply the amount of cash that you will need upon arrival, that will depend on your circumstances, depending what are your habits or your standards in terms of living and in terms of housing and in terms of food as well. Is there any particular vaccination for graduate students? No. If you're an international student, all the requirements from the Student Health Center are the same for all international students. There is no distinction between graduate or undergraduate students. Can you give us an idea of the WhatsApp group, which is already there for ISA or the current students group to connect? Well, if you join us for the ISA session, info session, I believe it's going to be the first week of July, you will be able to obtain that specific information, but certainly in advance, feel free to contact the Indian Student Association in advance. They can provide you guidance in advance. Also, we invite all of you to download the UT Dallas mobile application, where you will find very helpful information regarding the international student orientation, and you may create a group right there for all the new international students, the cohort fall 2022, to be able to be together and to help each other, presenting your concern questions and also presenting your recommendation. That will be an ideal way as well to connect with current students, that they will be the best one to share their best practices to have a smooth transition from their home communities to the UT Dallas community. Is crime really a concern with gun violence? That's a great question, especially because lately media has been highlighting some of the recent events, unfortunate events here in the United States. But I can tell you that the UT Dallas community is a very safe community. We have a great partnership with the UT Dallas Police. The UT Dallas Police, in the way it's perceived here in the UT Dallas community, is not really perceived as an authority. It's perceived as a friend. Yes, the UT Dallas Police Department is a very strong friend of the UT Dallas community, especially international students. Once you're here attending the in-person international student orientation, there will be a section. It will be a section dedicated only to safe and best practices to be safe here on campus, led by the UT Dallas Police Chief, the Chief Zacharias, who personally he will provide the message, and you will see and witness how accessible and friendly they are with us. I give you an example. Sometimes students may be late studying in the library or maybe in the labs, and they cannot stop what they're doing, and they can be late hours, let's say 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then they need to walk or drive back home to your apartment. But if the student doesn't feel safe walking around the campus in late hours, they are welcome to contact the police department, where they have certainly 24/7 service, and they can send somebody to escort you, for you to walk with somebody in company and provide you the protection and the safety that you require to ensure that you can go to your apartment in a safe way. So that's the kind of support that you will obtain from the UT Dallas Police. But again, the UT Dallas community is highly, highly safe community. Can the parents also go along with the comic cruise for free? Well, again, the comic cruise is free. You don't have to present any ID, so families are welcome. And certainly, Intercultural Programs is very aware of the importance of family, spouses, children of UT Dallas international students. So, not in terms of the transportation around the campus, they are welcome to use the Comet Cruiser as well for free, but you may expect that intercultural programs will be designing and offering some specific programs for spouses and the families of UT Dallas international students. Do you recommend any particular websites to look for properties to rent? Leticia has provided the link of the Intercultural Programs web, the section for housing, where you will find appropriate links for properties to rent. Well, if you are having some question regarding the specific location of your apartment complex with respect to the Comet Cruiser, please, you can consult the web page of DART and Comet Cruiser web page as well. to see what are the options in terms of bus transportation and what will be the closest bus stop and how often there will be the bus service from your specific location to the UT Dallas campus and vice versa. Can you please tell us more about the free pickup from airport and how to contact them? Again, this is going to be provided by Big Howdy in collaboration with the student organizations. You need to visit the webpage of Big Howdy, and from there you will find a specific email to request your reservation. This is something that it has been announced in the Intercultural Programs webpage, and certainly we can reinforce that information. And maybe Leticia has that specific link and will be able to publish in the Q&A column. Well, there is a question regarding is this correct that UT Dallas is going to waive the insurance price for fall 2022? We don't have information about that. So far, the cost of insurance for fall 2022 remained, and you can consult the expected cost of insurance in the student health insurance webpage. So don't expect the cost of insurance will be waived.
Rodolfo, if I may just add.
Yes.
Yes, it is of course correct what Rodolfo is mentioning. There might be some cases for TAs and TRs, which include the coverage of health insurance, but our recommendation is to talk to your future hiring manager for your TA and TR position to ask that question. If it happens, it will be only for those that have those positions. For all the rest of the students, as Rodolfo mentioned, this is a coverage that every international student should have, and that we highly recommend it because the cost of health in the US is very high and it's a very, very comprehensive health insurance. If you have an equivalent health insurance, you are free to contact the health center for them to evaluate if you can waive it.
Thank you, Leticia. And just for clarification, when Leticia mentions TARA, that means teaching assistant, and RA means research assistant. In those cases, those are campus positions that one of the benefits of those jobs on campus is including health insurance. Those positions are in the most traditional way are for graduate students, especially doctoral students, and they are highly, highly competitive. And the students apply in advance before beginning their doctoral programs. So that will be the case. The only time where we don't really see waiving the insurance, but actually the specific academic unit is sponsoring the health insurance for that specific teaching assistant or research assistant. Thank you, Leticia. Also, somebody's asking again about the bicycles around, to be riding bicycles around campus, either assigning back lanes. Actually, let me tell you, the UT Dallas campus is very pedestrian. So you may not expect really cars around, only people. So, but you're welcome to ride your bikes as long as you're careful, right? Respecting the pedestrian, and then parking your bikes in the corresponding areas for the bikes. Somebody's asking about the importance of vaccination history. If the student needs to bring the vaccination history, if UT Dallas requires such history, the vaccination history, the answer is no. However, it's really important that you have your clear record of your vaccinations, because if something happens here during your time at UT Dallas, and the student health center may need that information, and you will be ready to provide information to obtain the most appropriate treatment given the circumstances. So we don't require that, but we highly recommend that you bring your full health information with you, excuse me, and if needed, should be shared with the student health center. And one of the key pieces right here is really important to highlight that anything that you will do with a student health center is private, becomes very discretional, and the information will be only between you and the student health center. And nobody else on campus will obtain access to that information because that information belongs only to you. And we highly respect all of that. Well, somebody's asking about where they can buy used cheap cars to commute from their apartments to the UT Dallas campus. That's a great question. And actually, I would suggest that you contact current students at UT Dallas or perhaps student organization, and they can provide you some good tips and recommendations. Certainly, you will find many options across the Metroplex for shops to sell used cars. And but certainly you need to ensure that you have your standards and you know about the mechanics of the car to ensure that you're purchasing something really in great shape. The good news is that these shops, they only sell if they are certified. Okay, there is high standards in terms of the public authority supervising the transactions of this used car. So in advance, we'll recommend you to always request the certification of that specific card from the shops to ensure that you have full information for informed decision, maximizing your resources, certainly. Can we apply for on-campus from now, or should we apply later on? Well, as Leticia mentioned, housing on campus is basically full. But however, you're welcome to contact the campus housing, asking if there is some space available, there's a waiting list, and if so, well, for you to be included in that waiting list. But in advance, there is a high demand of campus housing, and you're welcome to contact Housing Campus directly. Nevertheless, we Intercultural Programs, we provide in our corresponding web section of housing additional resources for other housing options around the campus. That's a TA position, RA position, meaning teaching assistant position, research assistant position, make the student eligible for in-state tuition? The answer is yes, correct. Since the TA position, RA position, that will basically make the student to become a state employee. As a consequence, one of the privileges of being a state employee is the eligibility for in-state tuition. That doesn't change anything related to your immigration status. You remain as an international student with all the privileges and responsibilities of a regular international students in the United States and specifically at UT Dallas. Can I apply for a campus job before arriving to UT Dallas? No. Again, I need to reinforce this message, this guidance. You need to be current student, and once you're here, you register for classes. You are welcome to visit the Career Center and to follow up the guidance of the Career Center to apply for a campus job. I have social security number. Will be an issue for me that somebody's asking. Yeah, well, you have a social security number. No, that's perfectly fine. You bring the information with you, your social security card, because banks or business providers that you may require, like iPhones or cell phones, you may need to provide that information. When you get admitted, how long it takes to be issued an I-20 form? That's an answer that only could be, that's a question that only can be answered by the International Student Scholars Office, ISSO. And so we'll recommend to contact them and to meet their protocol for you to receive your I-20 and for you to schedule your appointment at the corresponding U.S. Embassy or U.S. General Consulate to obtain your visa. Regarding the Leticia has provided the web page for International Student and Scholars Office. Thank you, Leticia. How do I get in touch with an international advisor? Does each student get assigned an advisor? How do you know who they are? Well, actually, that's a great question. You can get in touch with an international advisor. I believe you're referring to immigration advisor. That will be, again, the International Student Scholars Office. The link has been provided by Leticia. And right there, you will be able to see in the web page the contact section of this office, and you will find the directory of the different advisors and how they are distributing their communication with respect to international students. Somebody's asking about rules and regulation regarding the visa. And how to obtain guidance and to be aware of the appropriate rules and regulations for specific visas. The International Student and Scholars Office, they offer a workshop to maintain your immigration status in good shape. And that's information that you can obtain directly from them to see when and how they will be offering those workshops or those orientation to ensure that you will be in good compliance with in the federal authority and as well with UT Dallas as an institution. One question is again related to housing. What are the chances to obtain campus housing if there is a long waiting list? Well, that is a fact. It's a reality. We don't really want to create expectations that students may obtain campus housing. However, we invite you to really be proactive and to prevent any situation to obtain appropriate um, housing off campus, around the campus, and for you to visit the different websites of these apartment complexes around the campus, and for you to pursue informed decision, but not really putting your expectation on campus housing. So the chances are really low, I would say, because it's, as of right now, is they're basically the dorms are basically full. Apartments on campus and the dorms are fully are full. What is the minimum pay for on-campus job? Well, traditionally, it's about $9.50 per hour. And it could be more than that, but I would say that's the average compensation for campus positions. Um, how to connect with an academic advisor? That's a great question. As I mentioned, you are new international student, you will be able to register your classes for your first semester only with the support and guidance, individual guidance from your academic advisor. Please visit the web page that Leticia is providing us. I will publish this, and right there you will find basically the academic advisor per academic program. So identify your degree program and then click the right there, and you will find the specific contact information of your academic advisor to be in conversation. And even so you are in process to getting your visa, you're welcome to contact in advance your academic advisor and to ensure that the registration classes, it will be based on your circumstances to maximize your time and certainly to have a smoother transition to UT Dallas academically. Somebody's asking a good question related to housing while they're waiting for their visa. In this case, the visa is expected to be issued late July. So the question is if you will be advising about off-campus housing, applying to off-campus housing now. If they don't have the certainty of the visa yet. I think you can start having the conversations really and to ensure that you have all the elements to have a successful application done. You can advise about your circumstances to the apartment complex. And in most cases, once you have your I-20, the certainty of obtaining the visa is really high. So it depends how you feel about that. And if there is no further concern, question about your situation, and you can have the certainty that you will obtain the visa in late July, you are welcome to consider to apply for housing, certainly, or at least for the apartment complex to know that as soon as you have the visa, you will be completing the application for the appropriate acceptance and an agreement list that to be signed for you, by you, and the apartment complex. How to find information regarding health insurance offered by university and to be compared with other health insurance providers. Well, you go to the Student Health Center and you will find a specific section for international students. And in that section, you will find the specific information of the student health insurance for international students, including the policy. So you will be able to have full information to be able to compare with other providers and to see if in terms of cost makes more sense to obtain an external provider for the insurance. Let's see here. Well, I believe we have covered most of the questions right here. We're publishing some answers that will be helpful for you to have this information because they're including in those answers some specific links that Leticia has been very kind providing that guidance. So for you to be able to see this information in the section of published questions and answers. All right, let me have the final review right here. Well, Leticia, would you like to have some final remarks? I believe we have able to have a comprehensive Q&A and to answer as much as possible and to welcome certainly all of you for the next information session that is going to be next Tuesday at 9:00 a.m. And if I recall, the next information session is going to be, give me 1 second, I can provide you that information right away. It's going to be about UTD Howdy. UTD Howdy. This is going to be a great information session. UTD Howdy, as mentioned, is a community partner, and they will be the ones leading the free pickups from the airports to the UT Dallas campus in collaboration with the student organizations. So welcome, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And I will request if Leticia Samaripa, Global Engagement Director of UT Dallas, will share final remarks.
Thank you, Rodolfo, and thank you everyone for attending this session. We really, really hope that we have answer your most important questions. As Rodolfo mentioned, please try to attend the following the following sessions, because we will be providing even more detailed information. For example, with the next one, the Big Howdy, you will learn about the airport pickup, but also you will learn about other wonderful services that these community partners have for you. Then we will have a session concerning how to pay your tuition and fees, then with the cultural organizations. So we are trying to get to you the most important information that you will need prior to arrival. We know moving into a new country, you must be wondering about a lot of things. If you have further questions, please feel free to contact us by email as well at icprograms@utdallas.edu. We are very, very eager to try to help you to successful transition into campus life. And you will do it, we're sure. We know it could be overwhelming right now with so many processes and so many questions that you might have, but this is what we are here for you, to try to ease your transition as much as possible. So thank you very much. We'll see you in our next session. Have a good evening.